y buenos días. Welcome. This is la clase de gramática for Unit 3 of the PASOS course, which is a fantastic course following a textbook conmigo as your profesora to guide you through. Okay, the word for beautiful today is hermosa. Hermosa. And I was thinking about una idea hermosa. What makes una idea hermosa? Well, I thought if it helps us to entender, then la idea es hermosa y la gramática can help us to entender. Entonces, la gramática puede ser hermosa. Gramática. Today we're going to start with the verb to be, the verbs to be. Estar means to be and ser means to be. Let's look at estar first of all, because in Unit 3 we used estar mucho. Okay, yo estoy. Tú estás. Él está. And ella está. So if you want to say it is, you're going to use está. And of course, usted uses this form too. So the formal way of saying you, usted está. You are. On to the plural forms of the verb. Nosotros, we. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. So that's you all, informally, en España. Vosotros estáis. You are. Ellos, they. Ellos están. Ellas, when el grupo es exclusivamente female, you're going to use ellas for the word for they. Ellas están and ustedes están. That's a formal way to say you all in España, and it's the only way to say you all in most of Latin America. So that's the verb estar. Now, let's think of some uses. Well, estar is used to talk about location, where something is, en el espacio or even en la imaginación. So, estamos en Inglaterra. ¿Dónde estáis? Yo estoy en México y mi hermano está en Colombia. ¿Dónde estás tú? And it can also be this idea of an imaginary location. So you could say, España está aquí en el mapa. All right, it's not really exactly here, but it's here en el mapa. So that's a kind of imaginary way of talking about location. Or you could say, por ejemplo, mi abuelo, that's my granddad, mi abuelo está en la luna. And that means my granddad's on the moon, he's kind of lost it, he's away with the fairies, he's out of it. Mi abuelo está en la luna. He's not really on the moon, it's a figure. Okay. Now, ser is used to talk about origin. So it can be used in connection with place. It's just not saying where something is. There is one exception to this. La fiesta está en mi casa. No. La fiesta está... No. La fiesta es en mi casa. So when we're talking about events, we use es. When we're talking about where your wedding is, la boda, the wedding. La boda es en el castillo. The wedding's in the castle. Okay? So events, use ser. Origin. So when we're talking about defining, you could say Austin es la capital de Texas. And then we're defining Austin, aren't we? So we're using es. Let's go through the verb ser just to make sure that we've got all the parts. Okay? Yo soy. Tú eres. Él es. Ella es. Usted es. Nosotros somos. Vosotros sois. Ellos son. Ellas son. Ustedes son. And this is the one we use for origin, for saying where somebody's from. So this is why we say, ¿de dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿De dónde es? ¿De dónde es este vino? Where's this wine from? Or, ¿de dónde son? Where are they from? Son de Guatemala. Okay? Where are they? ¿Dónde están? Oh, yeah. Where is he? ¿Dónde está? Where are we? ¿Dónde estamos? Okay? I hope it's making sense. What I would like you to do is to type into Google, estar for location. And then choose I think it's the top result is SpanishDict.com, DICT.com. And they have using estar with locations. You can read la información. You might need un diccionario to help you because they don't tell you the vocabulario en el ejercicio. And if you scroll down a little bit, once you've gone on to the SpanishDict.com using estar for location site, you'll find a quiz there that I think is useful to choose between forms of ser and estar. Okay? You can also read la información about estar on página 48 de PASOS. So if you've got access to a computadora right now, I suppose that you do, you're watching the YouTube video, pause this video. The link is in the description. Follow that link and do the quiz. Excelente. Today, en la clase de gramática, I'm also going to talk about a couple of little words, a and de. I'm going to talk about muy, which means very, and just touch on the verb tener, which means to have. But before we do that, top of página 48, there's vocabulario en casa. I'd like you to have a little look at that. You've got a track to listen to for la pronunciación, and I would like you to try to remember el vocabulario. ¿Cómo? Well, we need study techniques, don't we? Técnicas de estudiar. So I think it's useful to try to think of una historia. We are animales de historias. So when you're trying to remember the word aeropuerto, airport, it's a strong cognate, but you need to remember la pronunciación, aeropuerto. So you need to really engage with the word, give it some atención. And to give it your atención, the best way is una historia. So think, did you ever see Robert Smith of The Cure en el aeropuerto de Heathrow or Malaga or I don't know? What is your historia that you can link to the word aeropuerto? that'll give your cerebro something to hang that word on. Ayuntamiento. That's a difficult word. Ayuntamiento is a town hall. Have you ever been in un ayuntamiento? What for? To pay a bill? Can you remember it? How many detalles can you remember? And la historia doesn't have to be true. It works just as well with una historia que imaginas. So why not imagine yourself sitting late at night at una parada de autobús, and you see a badger coming up the road, and you're shocked that the badger's not even scared of you. In fact, it's coming for you. And you get to realize that this is an aggressive badger coming towards you. It's going to chase you out of la parada de autobuses. Now you've got una historia about the time when you were chased out of una parada de autobuses by a badger. Okay? The other thing that I would like you to do with that group of 8 words is have a look at the gender. The gender is shown to you by the word el. El means it's a masculine word. It means the when it's masculine noun. So you have el ayuntamiento. What letter do all those masculine words finish with? And when you've got la, that's a feminine version for the word the. And what do those words finish with? Well, they all finish with one letter except for one, la universidad. Okay, now if you look up on the internet Spanish cognates, you'll get to a site that's called SpanishCognates.com, I think, and they have cognates by rule. And if you look on that site, links in the description, for words that ity end in ity en inglés and end in idad en español, all of those words are feminine. It's ironic because dad is a masculine word in English. Well, it's a feminine ending en español. So you have la realidad, the reality, la normalidad, the normality, la probabilidad. La ciudad is the city. Okay? Have a look on the internet at all of those words and register the gender. Okay? Pause the video to listen to those words on Pista 51 and then follow the link in the description to have a look at those cognates. Excelente. Now, sticking with el vocabulario for unos minutos más on página 48, you have to have a look, and it says, puedes adivinar lo que falta. Now, that is 5-star vocabulary right there in the instruction, en la pregunta. Puedes means can you. It's a fantastic word, puedes. You're going to find that so useful, puedes. So commit it to memory. Adivinar is a lovely word, it's guess. So puedes adivinar, which means can you guess. Adivinar, guess. What do you do when you don't know? You adivinar. And what does I don't know sound like? Adivinar. Adivinar. Also the word divine, although it means godly, it also means to guess. So divine the answer, my darling. And then lo que falta. Falta means it's missing. If something has a fault, maybe it has something missing. So no falta nada. There's nothing missing. Or falta algo, something's missing. It's a great word. Okay, now el ejercicio is to put in el inglés, lo que falta, and these are strong cognates. They're very similar en español y en inglés. No es un problema. I would like to concentrate on a couple of palabras por la pronunciación. You know, la letra J is pronounced H en español. So, garage is garaje and garden is jardín. Okay, can you please try to practice those two words? Garaje, jardín. Bien? Okay, now some of the words are really easy to remember. Remembering vocabulario is un proceso. First, you choose to remember. Second, you put esfuerzo, you put atención, you put imaginación, and then you test yourself. La atención needs un poco de tiempo. You need to spend time with it. So let's have a look at some of the easy words en la lista. This vocabulario is for la próxima unidad. Isn't that nice? Unidad means unit, and didn't we just look at words ending in dad? So la unidad, the unit. La próxima unidad, the next unit. Okay, so some words that are nice and easy to remember. You've got casa, and you can remember that because Casa Blanca means White House. In fact, the president's residence en los Estados Unidos es la Casa Blanca. So it's not just a town in Northern Africa, a city in una ciudad in Northern Africa. It's also the name of the presidential residence en los Estados Unidos, la Casa Blanca. So casa is a lovely, easy word to remember. And we have a beautiful phrase en español. Mi casa es su casa. My house is your house. Okay, and that's saying welcome, feel at home. Mi casa es su casa. Okay, another word that's nice and easy, caro. It means expensive. And a car is expensive, isn't it? So caro, expensive. Puerta. La puerta is the door. And of course, a portal is a door to another universe, universo. So puerta is door, nice and easy. And ventana is a window. Well, what gives you ventilation if not una ventana? Nice and easy. Cuando las palabras son más difíciles, es necesario prestar más atención. So we've got the word barato. That's a more difficult word. So what I'd like you to do is make a beautiful, big, illustrated word of barato. There's going to be 3 of these. Piso means cheap, flat. Barato means cheap. Piso, el piso, means flat. So I want the big, beautiful word piso. Illustrate it. Draw some flats inside the bubble writing that you create. And finally, piscina. If this is a new word for you, if you don't know it, it means swimming pool, piscina. So we've got barato, piso, y piscina. 3 words that I want maybe just on one sheet of A4, big words, illustrated words. You could even send me your illustrations, ruth@spanglishfantastico.com. Learning vocabulario toma tiempo y atención. So pause the video to do those 3 things ahora. Okay, so there's 3 little bits of la gramática that I want to talk about, and all I want you to do is tomar notas. The word a means to very often, or by, or in. But in this chapter it meant away. ¿A cuántos kilómetros está? And I do want you to take notes of this, because everybody tells me that it's the little words that are difíciles, and you can't get much smaller than a. Okay, so a is normally associated with motion, with destination. Llegamos means we arrive. Llegamos a Argentina. We arrived in Argentina. Se acercó means he got close to. Se acercó a la casa. He got close to the house. Se acercó a la casa. Or his visit to Spain. Su visita a España. You see, they're associated with motion and destination. When the next word after a is el, meaning the, then a and el combine to make al. So, llegamos al museo. We arrived at the museum. Or se acercó al hombre. He got close to the man. Su visita al museo. So his visit to the museum. Okay? Don't do it when el has got an accent. That means he. Okay? The same thing happens with de. De means of, or a few other things, by, with, in, depende. And this is why the little words are difficult. So de, the next word is la, it's de la. The next word is el, it's del. They combine. Okay? De is más común en español, because we use it to say, we could say a silver ring. But in Spanish, they say a ring of silver, un anillo de plata. We could say the conductor of the orchestra, but we could also say the orchestra's conductor. Now, en español, they can only say the conductor of the orchestra. So it's only that estructura. So if you want to say Javier's dad, you have to say el padre de Javier. So de es más común en español. And of course in this chapter we had de donde eres. Soy de Inglaterra. De donde eres tú. We also use de for type of things. So in chapter 2 we use de for un zumo de naranja. En España, en la América Latina, un jugo de naranja. Or what type of sandwich you have, you know, if it's a long sub sandwich, un bocadillo de queso. Or what type of soup, sopa de pescado. Okay, so that's de. And in this chapter, of course, we had lots of locations. So we had delante de la catedral, or detrás del supermercado. Okay, I hope that you feel comfortable with those. You can read un poco más in your PASOS book, página 48. Last thing that I want to mention today is the verb tener. Tener means to have. So, yo tengo, I have. Tú tienes, you have. Él tiene, he has. So if you want to say it has, you're going to say tiene. That's the one to use. All right, you might need that. I did also want to talk very briefly about muy. Muy means very. So very close is muy cerca, and we are muy cerca al final. Do make notes. Write to me with any comments, questions, any thank yous. It's always lovely to hear when you say gracias. I want to say muchas gracias for watching. And when you're ready, I'll be ready with Unidad 4. Hasta entonces. Adiós.